Hi everyone! In this video, we're going to be showing you our first stop on our Transatlantic on Explorer of the Seas. We are in Ponta Delgada in the Azores. Hi, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Marshall.
And welcome back to our channel. If you're new here or you've just never subscribed, please do. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. It was the Fumas Valley tour. So it was gonna all be about the whole volcanic region on the island. So we were really excited about this.
Now, as we're heading across the island right now, I have to let everyone know, we talked about going to this place when we finished our last tour and we videoed it. So you may remember this was on our bucket list to do in the Azores.
Yes. And I was again reminded of just how green and lush the island is. You kind of forget a little bit some of the vibrancy, and then when you're back there again, and everybody on the bus was talking about just how lush and green it was.
Yes. So our first stop was the second largest city on the island, and I cannot really pronounce the name, but you'll hear our tour guide in a moment pronounce the name of this really quaint, I guess large for this island, but quaint city/town that we were in.
Yes, it's spelled Ribeira Grande, but he said it with such finesse that we'll just let him say it.
I agree. I won't even try. I barely try to touch it, but he made me say it. How do you pronounce the city?
Ribeira Grande. Give it a try.
Ribeira Grande.
Grande. You should try it as well.
Okay, say the first part again.
Ribeira Grande.
Grande.
That's
Okay.
getting there.
On our tour, we're at our first stop, and he said the name of the city is Ribeira Grande.
It's a unique place with a stream/river. I don't know, he called it a stream, but it's a river to me, that cuts through the city, and it's absolutely beautiful.
We want to show you a couple of the buildings here. You can see this is City Hall, and you can see the very dark volcanic rock that it's made of. And these stairs here, this is pretty common for city halls. And this gate, let's walk over. Under the stairwell is where the prison used to be. This was the prison. Then it got so full, they built a tower for the prison, and then they connected the two buildings. And then behind that is the oldest church in the area. It has 33 steps going up to the church. And let's go take a look.
I have to say, I like when we can give real-time narration, but it's so hard with the ambient sound, noises going by and things like that, but it's nice to kind of hear us in the moment.
You know, that volcanic rock was really everywhere, and everything was like this black or dark charcoal gray with the white. It's very Portuguese, I would say, but especially this area of the Azores. These doors are just spectacular.
You know, for a small place, a relatively small town, as I mentioned, the amount of detail they put into their city hall, but their churches is really amazing. Mm-hmm. Look at the view from the top.
And it was a beautiful day. We had extra layers because it was supposed to be a little bit cooler, but we had beautiful weather.
Absolutely.
And then we were lucky enough to go inside the church, and how spectacular this was.
Yeah, I actually felt, for some reason, this church, I felt more spiritual thinking about all the townspeople throughout the generations coming here to pray and to really, you know, hope for the best. It was really, I felt a connection to this church.
It's really difficult with the camera to capture just how special a place might be. This was extremely tall, so we tried to pan up to the ceilings to show you how tall it was and how ornate everything was, because it really is difficult to express how beautiful it was.
Yeah. And going back outside the church reminds me of all the talk about tile work, the mosaics that make up the street, and every street has a different pattern.
It's so pretty. The craftsmanship, the quality is just, it's very European, very Portuguese
Very
in
Portuguese,
particular.
yes.
Yeah, because we saw this in Lisbon also when we were there last year. But yeah, the tile work on the streets and sidewalks is very Portuguese.
Here's another narrow example. They even can't fit the whole star pattern on the narrow streets.
Yeah, the sidewalks get quite narrow. The streets get quite narrow, actually.
Yeah.
Back on the bus.
Now as we headed to our second area, we learned two things from our tour guide, and that's what's nice to kind of do your own stuff, but also take a tour guide. You see the cows there. The laughing cows, the happy cows of Portugal are that laughing cow company, and 98% of the cows on this island are free ranging. And I know you like this, they take the milking machines out to the cows. They don't bring the cows in. It was really interesting to hear about that.
Our second stop is the caldera of Fumas Volcano.
Yes, we are now on the rim of it, or one of the sides of the rim. There are two paths to get up there, and we're going to take the steep one up so we can get there as fast as possible.
We'll take the slower one down.
Sounds like a plan.
It was pretty steep, that climb there.
But when we all got there, look at that view, and you can kind of make out the crater rim. It's spectacular.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I think this was another vantage point, but again, the flowers were beginning to bloom. It was definitely felt like we were in full spring mode on this island.
Yeah, he said they blossom quite significantly so in the summer, the azaleas, but they were just starting to blossom.
And hydrangeas were next to come out.
Oh, right. Yeah, he did say that.
And very interesting story just about how originally people stayed away from this crater because hundreds of years ago they weren't sure why there was all that kind of steam activity. But now it's just such fertile ground.
It's actually, he explained that it wasn't an explosion of the volcano that made that, it was an implosion.
Right.
So,
right.
Made that pond, lake.
Yes.
So what's it called? A caldera.
Very good.
Yeah.
2 points for remembering that.
Yeah, thanks.
And this is the walk down the more relaxed side, and it was just
beautiful.
Yeah, just beautiful. Now we're really inside the volcanic rim, inside that what sunk down, and just look at this.
Every single kind of hole or orifice in the earth had steam coming out of it, and you walked by and it was hissing, and puddles, any tiny bit of water, any water was boiling, literally boiling. Puddles, big puddles, big, little, everything was boiling.
You could really understand why those original settlers were like, we're not coming near here, even if the ground is the most fertile in all of the Azores.
Yeah, it was wild. And the smell, we don't have smell-o-vision yet in this day and age. The smell was horrendous. It was very sulfuric smelling.
So rotten eggs.
Yeah.
That sums it up.
Mm-hmm. Steamy rotten eggs.
Yum. I love this one with the boiling.
I know. It was so mesmerizing, and just to think, wow, how hot must it be down there?
Right.
You know?
So we were also told there's dozens of different water samples you can take. Some hot, some not. I tried to do my Celsius conversion. This was super hot, like 1 second, and you had to take your hand away. And then I go to this one and I'm like, it's freezing cold.
And you'll notice the water is quite orange. It's very, very high in iron. So that's what causes that orange color. And you'll see that again at our next stop. You'll see it.
And he said the water was safe to drink, but when he talked about the iron and all the minerals, I just kind of remember another excursion we did where they were saying, yeah, people ultimately died because the water had so many minerals in it. So I stayed away from drinking it.
This is a sweet bread. And 87, my grandmother is the first person who made this. It's very, very softly. It's a little bit sweet, but not too much. You can eat just like this, or open the bread and put everything you like. A tuna, cheese, ham, jello, everything.
Okay.
Duration, it's 1 week. Why I tell this is different? Because all life produce this with hands. You see this in so many places, but it's very good. It's different produce. You understand?
I do.
It's my best one.
Stop number 3 on a wonderful adventure in the Azores, and we're now at the Botanical Gardens.
Yes, you can see a little bit behind us. We are going to film lots of footage for you. It's very, very beautiful here. So
let's go.
Let's go.
Another lush place. Do you remember the name of that tree?
That is a New Zealand Christmas tree.
Check.
Yes, it has red blossoms that come out in December, the last 2 weeks of December. So it kind of looks like ornaments on the tree, on the Christmas tree.
Yeah. Here's your orange water.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hot spring, and people were flocking to it.
Yeah, now I was thinking a lot of things at this point, and then our tour guide actually confirmed a lot of the things I was thinking. So it turns out they had to close it last year for quite some time because there was a bacteria in there. So now the water is filtered to take care of that situation, but I wouldn't have paid to be in that water.
But we would definitely pay to go back to the Botanical Gardens. Just
yes.
Look at how the landscape here.
Absolutely beautiful. There was not one spot on these several dozen acres that was not beautiful. I mean, if we had shown all the footage that we had taken, this video would be hours long. It was just so pretty.
I mean, it was this mix of being planful but also wild in nature, and they had these different areas. This is one of the avenues. You saw a bamboo area, and there was a palm tree avenue, and then again the flowers are just beginning to bloom in spring. There's the palm tree avenue.
There were monuments, there were like placards to read. There were also had labels on the different plants and trees, and then obviously even animal shapes.
This is very true. There's just some other natural yet, planful areas.
And then there was another spot here where the cold water merges with the warm water, and you can tell the difference here, and you can see where they come together. It was quite interesting to see.
Yes, one from the mountains and one from inside the earth, and there they are mixing. Well, we saw a eucalyptus tree, and now we're heading back to the bus. Quite the experience of those three major areas.
Yeah, I would recommend that tour to others. If you're wondering if you should take it or not, I would take it again. It's such an interesting and unique place to visit that I think that it's worth doing if you're considering it.
So this is 3 for 3 in terms of our trips to the Azores, and this gets definitely a double thumbs up from us.
Thanks for watching.
All right, take care.